Everywhere you look, media outlets are reporting a massive lack of homes for sale just as the 2023 spring home buying season is upon us. In this video, we will look at why inventory is so low and when there will be more homes for sale. First, the reason there is an inventory shortage is that 85% of Americans with a mortgage obtain that mortgage during the pandemic, and most have an interest rate below 4%, according to Bloomberg. This is known as a lock-in effect, whereby sellers have little to no incentive to give up their historically low rates. This is both telling and damning for home buyers. Again, most, meaning more than half, US mortgages are at rates below 4%. 85% have a rate below 5%, and 99% have a rate below 6%, all of which are lower than the current 6.25% right now. This makes affordability a real problem, especially compared to the historically low interest rates of the last few years, which results in the so-called lock-in effect. To demonstrate the lock-in effect and why it's going to be with us for a few years to come, think about this example. If you bought a $500,000 house in 2021 with a 20% down payment at 3%, your payments would be $2,371 per month, including principal, interest, taxes, HOA, and insurance. That same $500,000 house at today's 6.25% rate would cost $3,148 a month. $777 more. But to make matters worse, many homes appreciated considerably in that 2-year period. So you'd either be getting a lot less house for the same $500,000, or you'd be paying a lot more for that same house. Let's say that the $500,000 house appreciated 20% in the past 2 years to $600,000, which isn't uncommon. Now you have a double whammy of a bigger down payment and an even bigger monthly payment. Here's a side-by-side of those three scenarios of the same house. First, on the far left at last year's rate, and on the far right at today's rate with 20% appreciation compared to just 2 years ago. Now you're looking at another $20,000 down payment, and at 6.25%, you're now looking at a monthly payment of $3,769. Almost $1,400 more than the same house and payment at 3% just 2 years ago. Now you can see why over 80% of the people who are looking to buy and sell feel locked in, and sellers aren't selling, which is suppressing inventory. Ironically, this is the best time to sell, according to Realtor.com, as the median prices indicated by the blue line on this chart here are climbing and active listings, well, are not. The good news is that inventory is increasing as the 2023 spring season kicks into high gear. The second week of April saw the most new listings in 1 week since last September, as 80,000 single-family homes hit the market, not including condos and townhouses. The flip side of this is that 21,000 or 26% of those homes went into contract almost immediately. This demonstrates the pent-up demand of buyers in the market that is bringing back bidding wars and forcing buyers to drop contingencies just to compete. During that same week of April, Redfin reported that almost half of all new listings sold within 2 weeks, further demonstrating how quickly inventory is being absorbed. The good news is that with the bump in new listings came the first increase in active inventory of the year. There were 414,000 single-family homes on the market across the country the second week of April, according to Alto's research. Again, that does not include condos and townhouses. So there were 50% more homes on the market than last year at the same time, but 50% fewer homes for sale than in 2019. Inventory is expected to continue to rise in the spring as home prices are expected to peak, flatten out, or even decline as summer vacations and back to school result in fewer buyers in the market. The other good news is that interest rates are forecast to decline throughout the rest of 2023 and into next year. By how much differs depending on the source. This NAR table predicts 2023 will be an inflection year where rates drift down once the Fed makes the expected rate hike this week. Current market pricing implies there will be a 0.5 percentage point in rate cuts later this year, followed by what is believed to be the final rate hike by the Fed this week. Fannie Mae, however, predicts a single quarter point cut in the fourth quarter. Either way, interest rates are going down later this year, and that means affordability is going up and more households can afford to buy a home with every quarter of a point decline in rates. Let's look at how many households can get into the game as rates decline. This is a slightly complicated table that the National Association of Home Builders did to show how many more households can afford to buy a home with every quarter of a point decrease in interest rates. I created this housing affordability pyramid that simplifies the data in that previous table. What you are seeing top to bottom is how many more households can afford a house at today's median house price as rates decline from 6.25 today. So 36 million households can afford a house at today's rate, whereas 50 million households could back when the rates were 3.5% last March or April. Notice how every quarter to a half a point decrease in this pyramid brings in millions more households that can afford to buy a home. So going back to the NAR chart showing rates declining to 5.6% in Q4 of this year, which, according to the NAHB chart, will increase the households that can afford a house by over 2 million. Since 2/3 of home buyers have a home to sell, that means inventory should increase and prices decrease or at least hold steady, all of which leads to more transactions. In fact, this same NAR table shows the pace of home sales increasing every quarter this year and into next year. Fannie Mae is predicting 4.2 million home sales in 2023, but this table is showing that the pace of home sales by the end of the year is increasing to 4.8 million. By Q2 of 2024, sales will be at the same pace as Q2 last year when the Fed started making rate hikes. But even as inventory and transactions rise through the year, inventory is expected to remain tight for the rest of 2023, with housing starts below historical averages and, as we talked about, fewer homeowners willing to sell. It's worth noting that Fannie Mae is predicting a modest recession at the end of the year. What's interesting is that the reason it thinks the recession will be modest is because of the resilience of the housing market, and more importantly, the rapid response of homeowners to periodic declines in mortgage rates, even from currently high rates. There is light at the end of the tunnel as the number of home sales and dollar volume are expected to increase in 2024 for the first time in a few years. So what does all this mean? Well, for one thing, now is the best time to sell given demand is exceeding the inventory. The best time to buy, however, will be starting later in the fall as rates decline and inventory increases. Either way, inventory is going to be tight. And if you're a home buyer, you need to be prepared to jump on your dream home as soon as it comes on the market and ensure yours is the most competitive offer. This means staying on top of new listings and home price trends, getting fully pre-approved for a mortgage up front, and taking advantage of programs that make your offer more competitive, like the Knock Home Swap, which can not only eliminate your home sale contingency, but also empower you with the convenience and certainty of buying your new home before you even list your old home. I hope this helps you make sense of the current housing demand and supply dynamics so that you can make a smarter decision on the biggest financial transaction of your life. As always, please like, subscribe, and follow if you found this insightful and interesting and you want me to make more content like this.
I want for real to be.